All right, good morning, guys. Today is August 2nd, and as usual, we'll be going over an analysis for US 30, gold, and EU. So let me go over something real quick. So there's this trade I'm looking at. So we'll go over this parabolic SAR strategy, but there's this trade I'm trying to eye on US 30. Ideally, right, for this strategy, one of the major things is to have like a confluence, right, or a bias. So for me, I'm looking at this time frame, right? The hourly time frame. So for the hourly time frame, we had a retest right here, and then we had this hourly candle that failed to close above and then close below, and then this next hourly candle ideally went to try and retest the trend line and then close below. So currently, right now, you can see we are more of in a downtrend for US 30. So based off of this parabolic, and I'll go over it more. So this might be like a scalp to try out. So the key, and I'm gonna go over the strategy after a couple of more people enter, but this would be a nice sell setup, right? Because you have this, excuse me, you have this parabolic arrow right here. So let me go over the first one. So let me move over this one for now. So for example, like this one in the morning, um, let me see how many more people. I think Levy said he might be late. But for example, like this one here in the morning, one thing you want to look out for is so strategy is suitable for scalping and early entries at lower time frames, and best if used on the 15-minute time frame and above. So the lower time frame entries might be, let's say you're looking at the daily, and then you have a bias for a sell or for a buy. So it might be helpful to apply. So currently this parabolic SAR is only in the, and I'll also go over the time filter. So this parabolic SAR is only available in the crosses indicator, but my programmer is applying it to all the indicators. So you should be able to have it in all indicators. So for an example here, this morning, this buy on US 30, one thing I was looking at for, so again, right, best if used on 15-minute time frame and above. So watch for horizontal parabolic lines. So let me see if I can backtest. Also for you guys, if you have any sell bias for US 30, watch this. You see this parabolic arrow right here. If we get another closure below this arrow, so closure below 35,481 and possibly retest and closure below, that would signify a confirmation for a sell. And you can see how price is respecting this, not arrow, this line right here. But just be on the lookout for that. So let me see if I can back test before. And these lines form in real time. So it's not like they form in future or whatnot. So they form in real. So for example, you see what happened here? This horizontal, and I think I keep calling them arrows, these horizontal lines, so like the green one forms here. So the purpose of this, what this should tell you is if price closes above and retests this line, you can enter a buy. So that's how you should interpret this. So again, they will always form in real time. So here, what I was waiting for is for price to close above this green line and then retest and close above. And at that point, that's why I was looking for a buy. So if we keep running this line, you can see this candle came there, retested, and you can see. So another way to think of these parabolic zones is like reversal zones. So if in this case price is going up, what you would want for a buy is to turn on again in this indicator, and I think I'm going backwards, but it's because I'm waiting for Levy. But in this indicator, there's this option in style to turn on the bar color. So once you turn on the bar color, it will color the bars based off of a trend. So if price is below the 9 EMA, all the candles below the 9 EMA are going to be red. If price is above the 9 EMA, the candles above the 9 EMA are going to be green. And again, right, this same option is available in the reversal indicator, and I'll go over that as well, because that will help a lot of people who've been having issues identifying a trend. Welcome, Desire. We're just going through like a bunch of the settings, but I'll go over them formally once. I know Livy might be a little late, so I'm waiting on Livy. So for this buy right here, I was looking for closure above and retest and closure above. And then what's the other requirement, identify the trend. So for me to take a buy here, I need the bars to be green. I wouldn't take the buy if the bars were red. And again, this bar color filter is based off of the 9 EMA. So again, when price is above the 9 EMA, candles are green. If price is below, candles are red. So when I saw this candle, right, I wanted to see a retest. So there you go. You see that retest candle exactly to that parabolic area and closure above. And that's the area that I set. Let me pause that. That's the area that I entered. Actually, I entered a bit late because I missed that entry on exactly. Now, here's the question, right? For this particular strategy, the best thing about it, it can give you an amazing risk to reward, because one thing you can do here is, let's do here. So previously, you guys know, like I do a 1:1 risk to reward. And yesterday I did mention that, I want to improve my risk to rewards going forward to at least a 1:2. So with this strategy, you can either put your stop below the parabolic horizontal area. So in this case, if I was doing this and even targeting the 200 DMA somewhere up here, this would be what, 1:1.5 risk to reward. And this was just what, this was 40 pips. So if I wanted to do like 50 pips, right? So 50 pips TP, 300 pips stop loss, right? So the key here is to find out where you're going to put your stop loss. You can always put, in case of a buy, you put your stop loss below that parabolic line. If it's a sell, you'd put your stop loss above it. So either there, or you put your stop loss below the previous swing level. Because if you back test, and we'll do some back testing, and so Liv is still not here. I don't want to start the official thing without him. But anyway, so if you back test, right, just find a nice area to put it in, and then you go ahead and enter using that. Give me 1 second. I need to change something. Okay, and oh, there's Livy. Livy, I've been waiting for you. I didn't want to start the official whatever without you. But anyway, so I've just been going over a basis of the parabolic strategy. But right now, because you're here, I'll just start reviewing everything from the top. But for those of you guys who are in here, just keep in mind what I talked about. And then if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. So let me start over. So the new, all indicators now have a time filter. So if I go, for example, to the high-low plus trend filter, let me even use, actually, let me use this. Let me use this indicator as an example. So the crosses indicator, right? So if I do the crosses indicator, and again, once you apply these indicators, so let me start, once you apply these indicators, let's see. Okay, so I'm just assuming, right? So for those of you who are just testing out the new requirements, just make sure you take off the old indicator and reapply it in order to get the new one. So once you load the new one, right? So for example, this one I'm using is the crosses indicator. So once you apply it, the default settings are this ones. Actually, no, this is the default ones that I did. So for me, the default one has like this checked, right? So it has the show PSAR, SR checked. And I think it also had like some arrows, right? And those arrows were like SAR buys and SAR sells. So for me, I don't want too many things on my chart. So I went ahead and turned off this SAR buy, SAR sell. And then I, of course, colored my EMAs differently. I changed the bar color to, or I enabled this bar color. So what this bar color filter does is it colors your bars based off of the, wait, it messed everything. But I hope you guys saw how to take off the SAR arrows if you guys don't want them, because I don't need them for anything that I'm doing. Let me redo that. Hopefully it loads with my defaults. Yeah, so these are the defaults that I stored. Now, so once you do that, ideally this is what you want on your chart. So if you take off the those SAR buys and sells, it will take off those arrows, those boxed arrows, because we really don't use them. I don't have a strategy for that, but you can use it to back test. And the rest of the inputs, this is how they look, for example, on my crosses indicator, right? So that's pretty much what they look like. Let me see this. Okay, yeah. Now, for the time filter, and this is universal to all my indicators. So I know like Zdeniak, who's in here, he's been backtesting like the profitability of this. And I did mention that, right? You don't want to trade any of my strategies between like 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that time, right, allows for a lot of volatility and maybe manipulation in the market. So one thing like I did for me here, you can see on the bottom right, my time zone is UTC -4 New York. So this is the Eastern Standard Time time frame. So that's the first thing you want to make sure that whatever you have down here, you have the right setting selected. And then you come in here. So if you want to use the time filter, you check the time filter. So unfortunately here, I mean, I'd ask for multiple options in here so that in case somebody wants to trade like various hours during the day, so as you know, and not just one block of time. So let's say here, I want to trade between, I want signals to show up between what? Between 9 a.m. and so like the time I normally talk about. So let me do it this way. So from let's say 9 a.m. to what? To 12 noon. And this is just an example. So 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And let's say I want to avoid signals from 2 p.m. or between noon and 2 p.m. So I'd come in here and then do 2 p.m. here. So 2 p.m. here would be 14. And let's say I want to trade up to 3 p.m. So this one would be 15. I'll come in there. All right, perfect. And then of course, right, you have to check that. Now, if we go back, we'll see that between, we did what, 9 to 12 and 2 to 3. So you'll see here from 9, or let's do this. Let's uncheck this and see where other signals could have been. Okay, so you see all these signals right here. So these signals right here fall between, this is 4:45, this one right here. So this one comes from 4:45 to about 2. So if we come back in here, if we turn on this filter, no, not the 4:45. So we want the, give me 1 second. So let's see, we want the 2:30. Just 1 second. So let's say, actually, let's do this because I just want to do like a quick visual demo to show you guys. So let's do this to 16 and let's do this to I don't know, 2030. So if I apply this filter, these signals here that are outside of the 16, so this one right here, this buy should disappear because it won't be inside the 16 or the 4 p.m. time frame. So if I apply that, you'll see that this one disappears. So this one is at 18. So this one is in the time you're supposed to be trading. So up to 2030. So 2030 was somewhere around here. So that's why you see all these other signals here disappeared. Now, let's say you only trade like one block of time, or you just want to trade one block of time during the day. So let's say from like here, 9 to 12, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, or let's say 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So based off of how the logic of this indicator and also the capabilities of PineScript, which is the coding used for these indicators, my programmers were not able to put check boxes in these 2 blocks of time. So if you just want to trade one block of time, just replicate it down here. Because by default, this has to have some sort of input here. So, I mean, I haven't tried 0, but again, I don't know. I think I tried that and it had false positives. But if you're just trading one block of time, just replicate what you have up here. So for example, and you can see all these indicators, I'm sorry, all these signals came back. So if I'm just trading if I just want to trade between 9 and 1 p.m., I would replicate 9 and 1 p.m. down here. So 9, let's see if some of those disappear. Yeah, so you can see they're disappearing. 9 and 13. Yeah. So again, if you're only trading one block of time, replicate it down here so that you don't get false positives. If you're trading like 2 blocks at a time, again, replicate, just put your first block and second block. If anybody trades more than 1 block, let me know and I can add another block here. But for right now, you can just leave that. And of course, time zone, select whatever time zone you guys are in. So whether it's New York, whether it's London. And this is the same filter on all indicators. So whether it's the high, low, and trend, whether it's the crosses, whether it's the breakout scanner, whether it's the reversal, it has this. So does anybody have any questions regarding the time filter itself before I proceed to the next update? Okay, so that makes sense, right? Straightforward. So you just put in, so always make sure your time down here on TradingView is on the, so that it's easy for you to calculate it. Time down here matches. And then you come in here, select the time you want in here, the time you want the signals to be displayed, and then go ahead and do your back testing, and that should be good. Let me change this back because I like my moving average is colored in a certain way. So, okay, see this. So for me, I really don't use the time filter. So most of I just did this for you guys. So I don't use the time filter personally, but this should help you guys avoid periods of fake outs. Now, the other indicator or the other upgrade is this bar color option. So if you guys go to the style tab in all the indicators, I think, yeah, so all the indicators have the bar color option, other than I'll go over like a caveat in the high, low, plus trend. So this bar color is tied to the 9 EMA. So if price is above the 9 EMA, the bars will be green. If price comes below the 9 EMA, the bars will be red. So that is as simple as it gets. And again, let's watch this parabolic SAR around 30. We need a break and retest of 35,482 on the 15-minute time frame, but just let me know in case that happens. So where was I? So yeah, this bar color, right, that's the basics of it. So does anybody have any questions regarding bar color, or that's pretty much self-explanatory?
Yeah. Just a quick question. So I just loaded the new version, and these bar color. How do
Mhm.
you put them on the on? How do you activate them?
What do you mean activate? Oh, you just check the box right here. So you see, if I turn off the bar color, you'll get your bars based off of whether it's a red candle, whether it's a green candle. But if you want to know whether, because right, our logic has
Okay.
always been, huh?
Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah. So our logic has always been, if price is above the 9 EMA, price is bullish. If price is below, right, price is bearish. Now here's the best part. Now, let me finish up for the bar color. On the high-low plus trend indicator, the original code for the high-low plus trend indicator has its own bar color. So you can see the high-low plus trend has its own. Oh, I guess he just did that now. Wait, give me 1 second. This. Oh, I think. Okay. Wait. Actually, never mind. He had actually included that. So the original high-low plus trend had its own bar color in here, right? In the basic inputs. Now, this bar color wasn't dependent upon the 9 EMA, because you can see here, even when price closed above the 9 EMA here on the 5-minute, the trend was quote unquote still bearish. But with the new bar color one that we have, right, it's based off of 9 EMA. So this is why if you're using the high-low plus trend indicator, for me going forward, I will use, I think he needs to reconfigure this. So I'm asking him to reconfigure this so that it's marked as EMA bar color, so that the bar color again will depend upon when price is above or below. But when that update comes in, I'll let you guys know. But just keep in mind, the part where you might have confusion with bar color is using the high-low plus trend indicator, because the high-low plus trend indicator originally had its own trend based bar colors, which wasn't based off of the 9 EMAs. So right now he's figuring out how to add the new one and have both of them, and you can just select either or. But just keep that in mind. Now, the best indicator, other than like with this parabolic strategy, I'm also watching this one. I'm watching this entry right here. So we need a break and retests. This is and this will be ideally a scalp. So this is again on the 15-minute. So we have another 20 or so minutes. Now, the best indicator that the Bacala will help you guys with is the reversal indicator. Now, a lot of people normally, right, have questions. Is this a valid reversal and all of that? So for example, here, if I go to gold, you'll see that if I go to gold and this is the reversal indicator. As you can see, even it has the filter, the time filter, and it has the bar color. Unless I have the old one. Don't tell me I have the old one. Okay, let me apply the new one. This is the old one. Reversal. So once you apply the reversal indicator, that's the base. That's how it loads. It should have bar color. Do I have to restart this? Okay, wait, actually, never mind, it does. So in the reversal, right, there's the bar color also. So if you uncheck this, for example, you'll see that the candles will be colored based off of their regular colors. But if you check it, here, you'll see that they'll be colored based off of when price is above or below the 9 EMA. So if you guys remember, most of our reversal entries are based off of if price is above or below the 9 EMA. So for example, here, there's this reversal on gold right here. Where was that? When I think it was after heavy news, this one right here. So this reversal right here, right? So with this reversal, you would, of course, right, we are still always going to be doing our manual markups, right? Your area of interest, right? So for example, here, this would be area of interest. And guys, let me know for US 30. I know it's dropping, but here, again, I'm using the 15-minute time frame for this entry. So let me delete that buy that I took earlier. So here, what we want this 15-minute candle to close below, and then we want the next 15-minute candle to retest and close below, and then we enter with stop above the previous high, and then probably go for a 1:2. So it looks like we have like 20 more minutes to enter that trade. For if you guys want to maybe check out on the 5-minute, again, I haven't back tested on the 5-minute, but you can see even on the 5-minute, it has its own parabolic SAR down here. But for me, I prefer the 15-minute. Okay, so for the reversal, right, you always have that, your area of interest, gold here. What you needed here is 150 pip move. So this would have been 63 right here. So this is your threshold. So 150 pips. So previously we didn't have the bar color option in any indicator. So right, some of these candles will be green and red and etc. So there's two ways to be trading this going forward. Either wait for the so for this one you'd have been looking for the buy, right? So you can either wait for the buy and mark that. So in this case, the trend was still bearish. So even the candle that gave us a buy was still a red candle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was still a red candle. So one thing you can do here, you can come in here and mark this area as a possible area to set your pending order. Because keep in mind, if this reversal is to happen, you need to start seeing green candles. So you can set this area as your pending order, and then you wait either for the next green candle. So you can either take on impulse based off of how we've always been taking reversal entries, which was ideally based off of impulse when we get a buy or sell signal, depending on what we want. But right now, you can either highlight that zone as a pending buy order, and then you wait for the next green candle. So here, if you waited for the next green candle, you could have gotten a better entry that was 10 pips below that, right? So it's either you decide you're going to buy either here on impulse when you get that signal, or you're going to set up this area as a pending order until you get a green candle and just let the trade do its thing. Or you'll wait for the next green candle to show up, signifying a change in the trend. And at that point, whether, regardless of where you entered, whether it was here, or here, you can see that the trade would have gone in profit heavily. And with this ones, right, you can always do whatever risk to reward you want. But the best thing with this bar color change, it will help you identify a trend. So another question a couple of people normally ask is like GJ, right? And I normally let people know that a trend will always scream at you. So here for GJ, you can see on the 5 minute, can you really see a trend? I mean, we had this downtrend, but then we had a green, right? We had green and then price came back below. So what we want to see, if it's a downtrend, we want to see continuous red candles. So what happens if we keep going up? The time frame. So the higher the time frame you go, the more the candles in one direction you'll find. So here, if we go on the 30-minute, so you can see here on the 30-minute, we've been trending down other than this one. So you keep going up. So the higher you go, the trend will show up for you. So in this instance, look at this hour. So you see this whole push to the upside. So this whole push to the upside, you could have just waited for a reversal right here. So here you could have done turned on your indicator. So since this is a FX pair, and here you would be looking for a sell, and this is the 1 hour time frame. So this is 0. So you do that as 0 and you wait for the sell. So of course you wouldn't have taken a sell here. So another thing this bar color does, it also helps you visually eliminate the invalid buys or sells, because here you can see we are getting a sell, but the trend is still bullish, right? The bar color is telling you, hey, price is still above the 9 EMA, because sometimes with the regular cat, and yes, that is dropping with the regular, but guys, just note that. So this is the candle we are waiting to close in 14 minutes. But you can see the power of this new strategy. Anyway, where was I? So for this one, because previously sometimes you had to zoom in and you're not sure whether price closed above the EMA or above or below the EMA, right? So here, this bar color will just align. So you don't have to zoom in and start questioning yourself whether price is above or below. So here you get a sell entry right here. Okay, so if you get a sell entry right here, what do? You either mark this area for a pending order, or you wait for your first red candle to show up. So here in this instance in GJ, the first red candle would have showed up here. So you go ahead and enter your trade, stop probably above the previous high or whatnot. And you can see this was a small stop loss and for GJ, because this is 500 pips. 500 pips for GJ is not a lot. But anyway, so you can see depending on your risk to reward, right? You could have either just gotten faked out of this trade, or if you had just put your stop ideally higher than that a little bit, maybe survive that trade and you'd be writing it down. But anyway, so this is what I always mean, that a trend will always stick out to you. So you can see all this. So this is the importance of applying this bar color option in, and again, it's available in all the indicators we have. Any questions regarding the bar color or the time filter?
Yeah. I had a question. It's about the cross indicator. I'm not having the, I don't know how you call it, these red and green line.
Okay, do you have this option right here, show PSAR, S&R reversal?
Okay, let me check.
If you don't, then you just need to, that means you have the old version, you just need to remove it and reapply it.
No, I just put the new version because I have the time critter.
Okay, so do you have this option, parabolic SAR at the bottom in inputs?
Parabolic, it's at the bottom.
Yeah.
Let me check. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I see.
Okay, and with this one, you can always, for me, I don't want to do it, but you can always extend this line. So if I do like 500 here, you'll see all these lines extending to the right, and there you go. But for me, I don't want my chart to look like that. So for me, I always use the latest parabol area, if that makes sense. So I just visually look. So I'm not interested in these ones that are here. I'm just interested in either this one or this one, but mostly the latest one. And you can see here, this is the entry we are waiting for. And I'm almost sure, like if you go on the 5 minute, you could have gotten an earlier entry. So this is what I mean. So even on the 5 minute, actually, this is the entry right here. So keep in mind, the best thing with this these parables, they will always be real time. So if for example, US 30 pushed up heavily right now, this parabol right here would disappear. So it completely forms once the candle closes. So you're really gonna be faked out. But this one is already established right here. So the ones that can disappear is like in the 5 minute. In the 5 minute is if US30 pushed back up, that parabol would disappear. But in the 15 minute, this is already established because price has retested it. So the ones that are likely to disappear is the ones that are showing or that have shown up when that candle is still not closing yet. So if that makes sense. Any other questions regarding bar color and as we wait for this entry for in the next 10 minutes?
So just to be sure that I understand well, so it means that the entry is at the retest. As soon as it retested the red.
Yes, yeah, I'll go over that because I haven't gone over it, but yeah, but that's the idea. The entry is at the retest, but I'll go over the whole strategy for that one shortly.
And what does it what are these lines for? Is it like a support on resistance or?
Yeah, so you can look up parabolic SAR. So there's a bunch of videos on YouTube, but most of the parabolic SAR indicators, they are normally dots, but ideally, yes, it's support and resistance in short.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions regarding the time filter or the bar color before I proceed? Okay, so same thing in the breakout scanner. So the breakout scanner, same thing. The breakout scanner also has the option to change bar color right here. So for me, I'm always going to have bar color. Even for you guys who've been trading with me, you always saw that my high low plus trend indicator always had the bar color because I'm interested in knowing where the trend is. So the breakout scanner also has the time filter also, and also has the bar color option. So also I'm going to have the SAR, the parabolic SAR indicator applied to the breakout scanner as well. So I'm going to have it applied. So for the other indicators that are missing the parabolic SAR, just bear with me. We should have them ready by the end of the day, if not in a few hours. Yeah, so that's going to help a lot also on the breakout scanner. Because you'll be looking at the trend. So here's the, I know some of you guys had asked me previously, what was the purpose of this X's? So you guys can see some green X's and some red X's. So the green X's and the red X's are based off of the 5 EMA. I know we don't really, and US30 is dropping. I don't know if we're gonna get a nice entry, but you can see this drop. Anyway, that's fine. Where was I? The breakout scanner. Yes. So I know we haven't used the 5 EMA, but the breakout scanner ideally has 5 EMAs. 4 EMAs. So it has the 5 EMA, which is this little EMA that's always close to price, the blue one. It has the 9 EMA, which is the yellow one. It has the 50 EMA, which is the basis upon which buy and sell signals are fired. And then it has the 200 EMA. So whenever the 5 EMA crosses any of the other EMAs, it forms either a red X if it's a sell or a green X if it's a buy. So that's the source of those X's. I know we don't really use them, but you can start using those as early entries. So keep in mind, we now have ability to enter trades earlier if we are confident in the change of a trend. So for example, this X right here would have been a perfect sell. What is the reason? The reason is we have bar color on. So you can see here, the trend was very bullish because all these candles up here were green. So candles from 22.45 to 15.45. So for 10 hours, US30 was above the 9 EMA. So that's why all the candles are green. But here, where we have this red X, the 5 EMA crossed the 9 EMA, and then it created that red X. Also, what did we get on the next hourly candle? We had a red candle based off of bar color. So this is to mean this hourly candle closed below the 9 EMA, and look at that whole trend that started nicely. So, right, think of the US30, man. Think of the idea behind that, the logic behind that. Let bar color show you that, okay, price either is starting a downtrend, so look for other confluences you can use to enter a trade early, or earlier on in the, to catch the beginning of a trend. So does that make sense, like what I've covered for the breakout scanner? Does anybody have any questions? right? Yeah, so that's what all those X's are. It's whenever the 5 EMA crosses any of the other EMAs in here. So that's the purpose of the, now the other one, and I know like Desire, you'd ask for this, you can now create your alert. Previously, you couldn't create, if you try to create an alert here, you couldn't create a buy or a sell for a specific instrument. So for example, here, if I'm interested in US 30 on the hourly time frame, if I'm interested in US 30 on the hourly time frame, I can come in here. Let's wait for this thing to load. I can come in here, right click, add alert, do GA Trading Club scanner. Under the function you do, so breakout buy and breakout sell is literally the buys and sells that are printed on the screens. Crossover buy, crossover sell is this X's, is the red and green X's. And remember, the red and green X's come from the 5 EMA crossing all other EMAs. Not all others, so crossing either of the other EMAs. So you can look at how to use, wait, I think we have the closure here. No, 4 minutes. That was on the 5 minute. So here, but you could have, I don't know if anybody looked at the 5 minute. I'm pretty sure there was an entry. This is the entry on the 5 minute though. Since we have 5 more minutes, let me see. So this will be a test. I'll be testing this entry. This entry is, give me 1 second. Again, right, I'm still back testing this because I want to see how to apply. So here on the 5 minute, I'm not worried about this parable. I'm in that trade right now, and I would recommend just doing a 0.5 if you're testing with me. So this one, I'm not scared of this parable. I'm just gonna call them parables. I'm not scared of this parable disappearing because this is an established parable. The parables that you should be wary about is the parables that show up before. So for example, here we started seeing a line down here. That's the parable we would be cautious of disappearing. But so long as a parable has been broken and retested, right, that will stick to the chart for, I think it sticks for a couple of periods. Now here, again, we want the stop loss to be A, above the parable, or either above the previous swing high or swing low. So if that makes sense. And then here is where you can adjust your risk to reward. So for example, here, if you're doing stop loss above the parable, so this would be 500. So let's try, since this is a test, let's try 50 pips TP, 50 pips stop loss, right? Because to get like a 1:2, you would have to go like for a higher one. Again, the best confirmation would be on the 15 minute, but on the 15 minute, we might, right, that trade might be so far gone. So you can see how US 30 has tanked. But here I'm just back testing how can we enter using a lower time frame? Because here we know, unless US 30 pumps all the way back up, and keep in mind, if you're testing this with me, just use a 0.5% risk. Keep in mind, we need to backtest this a bunch more. Had I gotten to this, so I was on the breakout scanner. So I'll just let that go and finish up with.
Sorry, bro, to interrupt you. Yeah. So when did the red line on 15 minutes time frame, when did it appear?
So if we go here and we want to backtest here, so let's do this, right? So I'll show you guys how it shows up in real time. So if we continue there, right? So this is the parable that you would be cautious of entering any trade early, because a parable that, you know, it's always going to show up, like you're going to know whether it's being whether it's showing up on a live candle. So you can see the difference between this and, say, if we let 2 more candles pass, and this. So this means it showed up on this candle and not this candle. So it will always show up on a live candle. So for example, let me see this, the green one was the best example. Let me close this one out. So the green one right here, replay. So let's use this green one. The green one, if I play this, so you see how the green one is showing up. So again, how you interpret this is that use this, if you're using this as a buy, wait for the trend to change to be bullish and then buy at the break and retest of this parabole. So it will always show up this way. So in this instance, if this candle did not close anywhere, ideally above here, again, keep in mind, this is still new, so you definitely need to do a bunch of backtesting. But with the backtesting I've done, if this candle did not close above here, this parabole would have disappeared. So if we go next, or I don't know if it's above or below, but anyway, again, keep in mind you do need to backtest. I know it's a bunch of like logic behind it, but if you go on YouTube, you'll see like how parables work. But I've definitely seen some that and maybe this is on a lower time frame, like on the 5-minute, where it shows up, and if the candle does not close above or below, it disappears. But the point is, it will show up like I just showed you guys. So let's just use this logic of the 15-minute time frame. So here on the 15-minute time frame, before that candle showed up, so here I was literally in front of the charts when this trade was coming up. So when I was in front of the charts, I saw this green candle. So when I saw this green candle, what I told myself is that, okay, I have an opportunity to buy US 30 here. But for me to buy US 30 here, and keep in mind, for me, these are confluences I developed like after my programmers give me this entry. Wait, give me 1 second. I think it closed on the 15-minute. If it closed on the 15-minute, I will enter into another trade. Yeah, so that's the wait. I will enter now with a bigger lot size. So there's these two trades. I don't want to miss this trade. This two trade right here. Stop loss ideally, right? Stop loss should be above this parabole or above the previous high low. So, just do your math. What works for you with a better risk to reward? Is it above the previous parabole? Or is it above the parabole? Or is it above the previous high low? And you can see that trade is going up in profit. The best thing about putting it above the parabole, it can give you a better risk to reward. So in this instance, the stop loss is 46 pips. What is it called? 460 pips. Is that how we do it on US 30? Yeah, so about 400. No, 50. No, my bad. 46 pips, and US 30 is dropping 46 pips. So if you want like a nice 1:2, you can do your TP at 80 pips. And there you go. Right now we have the ability to move from like 100 pips TP and stop loss like I used to do to a nice 1:2. And right now, right, we can start to do the stop loss at break even or securing half. So I don't know if you guys jumped in this trade. Again, so 0.5 for the first one. This trade, it's 1%. So keep in mind, if we win this, I forgot, but I did tell you guys I'm jumping in with the larger lot size because this was the trade we were looking for. So for me, if this does hit, we should be up like 1.5% for the day, because keep in mind, on the 5-minute time frame, I told you guys use a 0.5% risk. Now for me, this one, the bigger one, I'm using a 1% risk. Now here, right, when you're 40 pips in profit, decide what you want to do. Do you want to set break even, or do you want to secure some, right? Hopefully that makes sense. I know, again, right, I know I've mixed a bunch of reviews for this to answer some questions, but you can ideally, and I'll go over the strategy again for parabolic strategy, but I didn't want us to miss this particular trade right here. But anyway, let me finish with the breakout scanner real fast so that we can focus on the parabolic entry. Also here, what I'm targeting, a nice target will be this area. You see this 200 EMA on the hourly? Because if we go back here, and this is why I want this guy to apply this parabole to all indicators so that I can use it on this chart. So this is the target. For me, I would be looking to take profit at 35,360. So I don't know how far that is from the entry we have right now, 35,360. So for me, if 35,360 area hits, that should be the TP for that trade, and I will close out those trades. Anyway, let me finish again with this. I know it's a bunch, but we'll get time to review this time and time again. So again, breakout buy and breakout sell is the buys and sells that are printed on the screen. Crossover buy and crossover sells, you'll get entries based off of this X's where it's the 5 EMA crossing either of the other EMAs. Does that make sense on this? And I know, Desire, you'd asked about this. So you can now create an alert on the breakout scanner based off of the instrument that you trade. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So any questions regarding bar color, the breakout scanner? No? Okay, now let's focus on this parabolic SAR. Again, if you want to know what parabolic SAR is, I'm probably not the best person to explain, but you can check that out on YouTube. Now, for this particular one, why are we looking to sell right here? Number one, and actually maybe having a bias should be the first requirement. Before the market opened, I looked at US 30 on the hourly time frame. So before even using any of these parabolic entries, look for a bias, right? So use all our confluences as we do. So here on the hourly time frame, I saw US 30 rejected from this trend line from the upside. So rejected here and closed below it. The next candle closed even below the 9 EMA and ideally below here. So here I was biased for a sell on US 30. Other than in the morning when I'd taken this buy somewhere here, when we got this rejection, which is when I rode that buy, this buy up here, I was biased for a sell. Now, no, in the morning when we got this retracement, I was biased for a buy. Right now, because we are retracing downwards, my bias is a sell. So knowing that my bias is a sell, what am I looking at here? So this strategy is suitable for scalping and early entries at a lower time frame. So for me, I'm going to be using this strategy on the 15-minute time frame. But you see how we entered on the 5-minute time frame? The reason I went to the 5-minute time frame is because we had already closed below this parable on the 15-minute time frame. And then we had retested around the area and started dropping down. But US 30 was dropping so far down such that maybe by the time we got this entry we are currently in right now, US 30 would have been so far down and it would ideally be chasing. And you can see the sell trend started with this candle. So you can see, right? You can see the sell trend started with this candle. So I don't want to be selling down here when the sell trend started at 35,480 and I'm getting at the trade at 35,380. That is 100 pip. Is it 100? Yeah, that is 100 pip move that I would have missed. So I went to the 5-minute and here I'm addressing this part, right? This strategy is suitable for scalping, which is what we are doing right now, and early entries. So since I knew the 15-minute, the probability of it closing below here was high, I moved to the 5-minute and I'm looking for the same thing. I'm looking for a parable. So we got this parable right here. What is the trend? The trend is bearish. Perfect. So we got a break and closure below this parable. We got this candle ideally did not go all the way to retest, but closed below. So that's where we entered, stop loss above the parable. And for this one, it was like a 1:1 as we waited. And this again, right, was 0.5% risk as we waited for the 15-minute to confirm. And once the 15-minute confirmed, that's when we entered that particular trade for like 1:2. And I think this trade based off of the stop loss 486, what is this? 469. Give me 1 second. 46. 400. Yeah, so this one should have been halfway in profit, right? Because if you achieve a 1:1, you should have been at break even. So right now, ideally, if you entered the 15-minute one, your stop loss should be a break even, or you should secure some. So remember the strategy is, right, either secure some at 1:1 or 1:2, and just find a proper risk to reward. Again, for me, I'm literally learning how to improve my risk to rewards. So don't really follow my risk to rewards too much for now, because I'm used to doing a 1:1. So right, that's why we use the 5-minute, and then we also got an entry on the 15-minute. Does anybody have any questions for requirement number 1?
Yes. So when you said that we were waiting for a confirmation on 15 minutes, what was the confirmation?
Break and retest, right? So we are treating the parables like it's ideally support and resistance. So we are trading. So if I go in here, and again, I'm not doing that because I don't want my charts to be messy. If I go in here and extend these lines, you'll see here this, right? But I don't want this on my chart. So think of the parables as the break and retest. So we are waiting for, so same thing we do with trend lines, right? So for trend lines, how do we trade trend lines? We wait for a break and retest of the trend line and enter based off of the direction, right?
Yeah, yes, but in 15-minute time frame.
Yes.
As we were waiting, the price didn't retest the red line, no?
Correct. So it doesn't have to retrace the red line. So you see, like here, on the for this buy, it literally retested and gave you the perfect entry. So not every time will you get that perfect retest, which is why sometimes then you have to go on the 5-minute.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So not every time will, even in trend lines, right? So if I go in here, not every trend line is even this one right here. This candle did not go all the way back to this trend line, right? But it dropped. And this ideally was the sell entry for US 30, right? So not every, you know, you won't get a break and retest everywhere. And here, the other thing we need to be careful of is this 4-hour bullish high zone. And I don't know, I know the name of the guy on, what is it? On Discord, but I don't know his name in here. I don't know if he's in here, but I know if you're using the zones indicator, sometimes you'll get the red exclamation mark. Just change the first area to 0 instead of 0.5, because for me, I normally have 0.5. But here you can see we have this 4-hour bullish high, but keep in mind, as much as we have a 4-hour bullish high here, if we turn this on, where did it go? I hate this. I didn't see any buyers sitting here, but keep in mind we are at an order block area right here. Probably need to reconfigure this indicator. But for me, this is the target. So we do have some buyers here, right? So make sure you put your stop at break even, because right now you guys should probably have a 1:1 if I'm not wrong. I don't know, depending on your stop loss. So here, but my target here is this 200 DMA, 200 DMA on the hourly. As much as we do have buyers here, and you can see this 200 DMA lines up with the 4-hour bullish low. So I'm still gonna hold my positions for now, because this is the target that I'm looking at. US 30 should literally touch this 200. I have like a 90% probability of US 30 hitting the 200 DMA. I just hope it doesn't come back up and stop us out at break even. Yeah, but my target is there. I just wanted to look at that. Yeah, so think of them as breaks and retests. So if I come back here, what do we have? Yeah, right. So that's requirement number 1. Requirement number 2, right? So actually, I should also, maybe having a bias should be requirement number 1. So number 1, look for a bias in your trading. Don't go for both buys and sells. I mean, it's scalping. You can literally do it, but I prefer not to trade both directions every time. So number 2, watch for a horizontal parabolic line to form. So sometimes if you're on the charts, the parabol will form in real time. So here, if we go on the 1 minute, for those of you who trade on the 1 minute, we can probably expect a parabol to form at some point in real time. I'm not sure if we're going to get it, but I don't want to really waste time. But sometimes they'll form in real time. Sometimes you'll find that they have already formed. If they have already formed, ideally, right, if they have already formed, identify the trend by applying the bar color filter. So if here we have if a red parabol forms here, what we would be looking at, and also keep in mind, parables can be areas of reversal. So here, this red one right here, price could have easily come here, retested, and shot all the way up. So a parable can be a double-edged sword. So that's why you need this. You need to have a bias. You need to know what the trend is. Is the trend bullish or is it bearish? And that's going to help you avoid getting caught by those reversals. So if you've identified, like here, we identified the red one here, and again, sometimes your color is relative, but you can think of the green ones as areas to buy, red ones as areas to sell. So identify the trend by applying the bar color. So here we got a parabol here. The bar color based off of the trend was red. Perfect. Then we know that we are looking now for a break and retest. So if the trend is bullish, you want to wait for a break and retest of the parabolic line. If the trend is bearish, which this was it right here on the 15-minute time frame, you want to wait for a break and retest of the parabolic line as well. Set your stop loss below or above. So in this case, since this was a sell, the stop loss was should have been at the very least above the parabol or above the previous high low. And I know we haven't, this hasn't been applied to the high low indicator, but if we go to the high low indicator this was on the 15-minute, I'm pretty sure that area right there is a high low. There you go, right? This area is a higher high. We have a lower high, and pretty much this is the previous high. So just it's right. It's basics of trading. The previous high low area. However, you determine to find that out, right? Just apply that. So here, if you have this would have been a about a 48 pip stop. So if you want like a 1:2, you could have done 48 to 800, which is what we are doing right here, such that if you're 48 pips in profit, you go ahead and set break even. So I don't know if you guys for this trade, if it hit 1:1 for you guys, but it should be at break even, or you go ahead and secure some. So right, set stop loss above or below, depending on the direction. A better stop loss is below or above the previous high low. So note the parabolic lines, as I explained, can also act as reverse points. So this is why it's important to have a bias, because here this price could have easily touched this parabol, and you'll notice that price sticks to these parabols. So here price could have easily tested this and rejected to the downside. So this is the importance of always making sure that you're trading with the trend, and the bar color filter will help you identify what the trend is. So hopefully that makes sense. Any questions?
Yes.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions,
Oh
but
no, that's good. It's better than not understanding and not asking.
so like here in two questions.
Mhm,
First of all, here in 15 minutes, you know
mhm.
where the first the parabol came at the red line.
Yes.
Why we didn't enter at the retest and put the stop above the last high?
But when did the question is, right, when did we get the retest? So this was the break. So this was market open, right? This was market open because price went back up. So we could have entered that before
Yeah,
you.
like here. Yeah, for like at this moment.
Yeah, so before you joined, I'd gone over it. So I'd marked up that I was waiting for that sell. The red flag was market open. But
Okay.
yeah, before you joined, I'd set this one. I'd set, as you said, I'd set this entry and either stop above here or stop above here. But you can see, because of market open, what did they do? They manipulated that. So you also want to be careful of all the other entries we do. So again, keep in mind, right? The first one was 0.5. This other one right here, right? Your stop should either be at break even or you should have secured some, because if I'm not wrong, this came to 50% of the profit from the entry point. So yeah, 38 down to 94. So it came 38 to, yeah, it came like 45. What is that? Is that 45 pips? Yeah, about 45 pips. So this trade for you guys should be at break even, but just make sure, right? If you're still gonna hold without stop loss, right? Or not without stop loss, without break even, just make sure your stop is above this zone. Right, and this is how you can scalp all these areas. So you can see for this buy, same thing. So I'll just use this tool right here. For this buy, this parabol formed, trend was green. So what I was waiting for, closure above, which happened with this green candle, retest and closure above. And then this was that buy that I entered, and then it would have gone all the way there. So for me right now, what I'm focusing on is how do I identify my risk to reward ratio, or where do I identify the stop loss? Same thing with this sell right here. And this was a death cross on US 30. So sell, look at what happened. You'd have waited for a break below, waited either for a retest or the next candle to close below. So we didn't get a perfect retest, but we got that closure below. You enter the sell here, right price all the way down, right? So scalping. For this sell right here, same thing. You wait for retest, break and retest. So this one you'd have entered, say here, and let's just back test the last few ones. So this one, unless you wanted your stop loss to be like half a pip, you can see this one, your stop loss should have been above the previous high somewhere down there. And right, you go for your whatever risk to reward area. This one right here, this sell, and this is the importance of waiting for that nice break and retest, because this one acted as a reversal point. So you can see here, it did sell, right? It did close below the parabol. Price had started to become bearish, but this next 15-minute candle, guess what it did? It closed all the way back up. Even this other candle, it retested and closed up. So this parabol here is an example of a reversal, of a parabol being used as a reversal. So keep in mind, be careful of that. Now here, in any instance here, guess what I would have been looking for? I would have been looking for a buy. The reason is we had formed a golden cross, and keep in mind, for golden crosses, and this is why, right? Just make sure these strategies don't confuse you too much. The reason here, I would have looked to take a buy and use this parabol to my advantage for a buy, is that what we know about the crosses, we want to take the first 3 to 4 entries. So you have the original cross, 2, 3, 4. So for me, this buys, I would have actually bought US30 here, not sold, because it was the second buy here had ideally gone to TP. So ideally, I'm looking for the third and the fourth. So if I saw this rejection from this parabol, I would have use this parabol for a buy and not for a sell. And keep in mind, like yesterday, like last night or majority of yesterday, my bias for US30 was bullish. So that's the importance of having a bias, because you don't want to be trading each and every parabol here. So this one is an example of how parabol can be used for a reversal. Here's another one, right? Here, if I was trading for a buy, would have waited for closure above. This candle closed above, so right? The only issue with this candle is that it's so huge. So, right, this could have been a buy here, stop loss somewhere here, but you can see this trade, you couldn't have achieved a nice risk to reward. So eventually this trade could have gotten stopped out. So you want to be careful about the size of the candles. You want to be careful about the market opens. You want to be careful about news, and also make sure. So keep in mind, this parabolic strategy, my top strategy is the crosses indicator. So the first 3 to 4, so that will always come first. So which is the reason here I wouldn't have been looking to sell US30, and in any instance I would have used the parabol strategy as a confirmation for a buy, because the first 3 to 4 buys had not been exhausted after a golden cross. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so just make sure, just test it. Test
Yeah,
it
I will
first.
test it.
Yeah, test it first without thinking of other strategies. So just back test it and ask yourself, okay, how is this going, right? What do I see on the chart? Do I see a pattern? Okay. Like this one, I would have traded this parabol because it was after a golden cross. So maybe here I would have scaled in, right? Because it was after a golden cross. So first test it by itself without even considering other strategies. And then once you understand it, just afterwards, then find a way to apply both of them or 2 or 3 of them at once. So, but just don't confuse yourself. But if you find this strategy is not working for you, hey, just, it's well and good, but I just want to expose you guys to as many profitable strategies that I find. If you find it doesn't work, well and good, you can say you tried. If you find it works, hey, this is to be honest with you guys, I do miss scalping a lot. So this is really, really, I'm enjoying this. I think I'll be enjoying this new one, because with this one, I'm pretty sure we can be having like a 2 or 3 scalps a day with like a 0.5% risk. So you can see we can trade this. This is US30. If we go to gold, same thing. We can possibly see some entries right here for gold. So right here for gold, right? Break and retest. So this was a buy. And actually, I was actually considering to take this buy, but this buy came after, this was before the 8:15 news. So again, be wary of news. But the reason I was considering taking this buy is like, we were literally about to make a golden cross on gold, right? So for me here, and if I did take this, I would have gotten stopped out, but my stop loss would have just been either there, right? You can see how you can have a tight stop loss. Because you could have entered there, or either your stop loss to be here. And you can see this is only 40 pips, and that's so little on gold. But you can see that one I could have gotten stopped out. But guess what? If I saw this other move and I knew it was because of news, guess what? I could have, and let's say I changed my bias, or my bias was for a short. I could have entered the short on gold there, stop above the parabol, above this high, or above the 200 DMA. But I don't want to have two wide stops because I literally want to improve my risk to reward. So this stop right here was a 50 pip stop. So let's assume I go for 100 pips TP, right? So that I have a nice 1:2. And guess what? I achieved full TP on that one, right? So just back test this and see how they relate to each other. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So hopefully these trades hit TP and we start the month. I don't know what did you guys enter 2 trades or did you just enter 1?
No, just one. It was
The 0.5% risk?
no the 15 minutes.
Okay. How much risk did you use?
1%.
Perfect. Yeah, so ideally if we win oh, was there anybody else saying something?
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you, how do you do, like, for example, when you say that let's enter the trade now,
Yes.
how do you do to calculate your stop loss below or above the parable on your trading view? Because
So previously, before, like I knew I was looking to take that trade, right? So mentally I had started or did I change this? So mentally here, so if I go back to US 30, I had started looking, just eyeballing it because I had 15 minutes to prepare. So I'm gonna look at the parable here. So the 15-minute trade was where? It's the one above here, right? Why do I have all this buys and sells? Wait. So there was, which is the 15-minute? Wait, so that's not, this is the 5-minute and this is the
no, yeah,
15-minute.
there is one that you put just to show when the market opened and there was
Oh,
a
okay. Okay. So here for this 15-minute one, and I'll use that one as an example, I saw the entry was going to be on the close of this candle. So my entry was going to be 35,439. I want my stop loss to be above the parable. So 35,439 to 35,490. So I'll call that 440 to 490. That's a 50 pip stop, right? So I just come in here. I go to my trading, you can do trading view here and just do, if I want a 1:2, I do, wait, stop level 80. Wait, unless I'm oh, I'm using the back one. So here, I just come in here. If I want a 1:2, I just do 1,000 here because that's 100 pips. Stop here, 50 pips. So before I enter, I'm looking at where price is and where the parable is so that I can start inputting those parameters in my trade manager on MT4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to eyeball and see, okay, so you need to know which one is going to be your retest candle. How much time do you have before your retest candle forms? Okay, what is the average price between where so you want to start looking at where the retest candle is about like 1 minute till the candle closes. So that way you can start knowing what is going to be your risk to reward. Are you going to do a 1:1? Are you going to do a 1:2? Like for example, this one, this was such a nice trade with such a nice risk to reward, because for this trade, can you see this one literally was that's 478 to 440. I'll call that maybe 40 pips. So this one could have been actually even 35. So call that 350, 35 pips, and call this one 70 pips if you want a 1:2. This one is perfect, right? You have a quick 1:2 because, right, sometimes, especially when there's no volatility, you'll get this nice trade because your stop loss will be, I know Steven hasn't been on the live session in a minute, but if you've seen Steven's trades, this guy has like a 10 pip or 5 pip stop on FX pairs. And that's how he's able to do like a 1:7 or something. So you can see how this one would have given us such a nice 1:3 or 1:2 ratio, right? So you want to just make sure, know what is your retest candle, how far is your retest candle from the parable, and then just start mentally calculating or preparing your trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other questions? Livy, are you good? I don't know, maybe he has us on mute or something. But anyway, so hopefully he's good. Hopefully, Jared,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
good.
good. I'm just,
Okay.
working too.
Yes,
So
I'm
yeah, but
trying
I
to
followed
follow
everything
along.
you said.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll be using this a lot. So I'm looking to be catching, like, you know, how we used to trade. I know I've transitioned to become a swing trader, but I do miss scalping. So for this one, there's no reason we shouldn't be catching, even though it's a 0.5% risk, right? Maybe 1 or 2 trades with like a tight TP, tight stop loss, right? We can even be doing 20 pips TP, 30 pips, or 30 pips TP, 20 pips stop loss, right? That's a 1:5, or 1.5. So the best thing with these parables, they will give you such a nice risk to reward, especially, you know, the key thing is to always know your bias. So if you're expecting sells on US30 or on gold or on EU, forget about the buys, right? Just forget about any buys that you see. Focus on those sells. Like for me right now, the reason I'm holding on to this trade, I know time and time again when US30 has played this game, it retests the 200 DMA on the hourly. So whether it's a 200 or whether it's the 9 EMA, right, it normally goes there first before any nice reversal. So this is why for me here, I'm expecting, this is another reason why I'm holding this trade, because time and time, as much as we're in this 4-hour bullish high, I do expect it to, and you can see we're not that far from the 200 DMA. So, and looks like it might just come and pick up liquidity from the 4-hour bullish low before any reversal. Yeah, but always have a bias if you're using, whether it's the parable strategy, whether it's the reversal, whether it's any other one, just have a bias, and that will help you in identifying the trades. Yeah, but you guys go ahead and backtest this parable strategy. I definitely know there's something in here. And then, as I said, I'm having it applied to all indicators so that if you're trading the breakout scanner, you don't have to come to another chart and start applying the crosses indicator so that you can have access to the parable. So all our indicators will have the parables, all our indicators will have the bar color. So hopefully that helps you guys out. If you guys have any other recommendations to help improve indicators or any systems we have, you know, always feel free to let me know. And there goes US30. So hopefully we end the day at 1.5%. I'm excited. This is nice. Yeah. Any last questions or last thoughts from anybody? Perfect. I will see you guys tomorrow. So, you know, I'll be, even though you know, if you still have trouble with this, you know, we'll be using it every day. So there's always gonna be opportunities to ask questions or interact with it. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Trade safe. For this, if you guys are currently in this trade, I think I'd confused since I had like 3 entries. So I know it's approaching a 1:1 very soon, because we have, I think the stop is like 50 pips, right? So 50, 40. Yeah, I think it should have either, I mean, depending on your slippage, you're either at 1:1 or something. But anyway, just you guys probably know risk to reward better than I do. So just do like break even or start trailing it at 1:1. And then that should be good. All right, guys, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.